Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED. It is August the 6th of 2016. Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. We're both real estate brokers with John L. Scott in Southern Oregon, and we get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about, well, all sorts of real estate-related issues and topics. And so far, in 7+ years, we've never had a blank show to tell. We've had something to talk about, and well, it just gets more fun each time we do it, right?
It's the best hour I spend probably in my real estate learning efforts every week. And so far as the great guests that we have and the great things that we learn on the show.
Well, you know, our goal is, of course, to have you be a smart real estate consumer. And we know that our listeners are pretty smart. I mean, boy, we've got some great information for you, and today is going to be no exception. Robin Simpson is in the house today, and Robin is a broker with John L. Scott. First of all, nice to have you here, Robin, with us.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. First of all, your story, you were a teacher. Tell me what that was about.
I was a middle school teacher out at Scenic Middle School in Central Point, and I love teaching. You know, everybody says middle school, it might be a little bit difficult to handle, but trust me, your children are different at school than they are at home, just like we're different at work than we are at home. Yeah. You know, they're not quite as wild as they are at home, but, you know, it was a lot of fun.
We should have hit up David Hurd for a little background information.
Right?
And if we run short on real estate topics, we can talk about middle school.
Oh man, there's all kinds of stuff there.
That'd be good radio.
Well, Robin started as a new agent, right? 3.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. You were brand new.
Brand new.
And I will just tell you, 3.5 years later, you have built one heck of a successful real estate business.
Yes,
by
I have.
The way.
Thank you.
You know, I've noticed that. So good for you. I mean, that's terrific. Well, so you enjoy it. I mean, it's a whole different lifestyle change, isn't it, when you become a broker?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I do like the flexible schedule, because when you're a middle school teacher, you go when the bell rings.
Yeah,
everything is controlled by the bell. So now I control my own schedule, so that's nice.
Yeah.
However, I found that my skills as a middle school teacher really translate to real estate, because adults buying real estate are under a lot of pressure. It's an emotional, stressful time. Mm-hmm. So an adult under pressure and stress is very similar to a middle school student. So I found that I knew.
That makes perfect sense.
You know, it really does. I've never heard that way before, but it does make sense.
I was like, oh, I recognize this behavior.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
I've done that.
Yeah. That's really funny. Well, you know, one of the reasons, you know, we have you here is that the market is going on. We're here in mid-August. Just what are your impressions of this, what we're going under? I know we're going to look at some of the stats a little in a second here, but overall, tell us what your impression has been.
Well, I hear people saying there's a little bit of a slowdown. There is a little bit of a slowdown as far as prices are concerned. We're not rising as rapidly as we did in 12 and 13.
Which is a good thing.
Right,
which
exactly.
Is a good thing.
We want it to settle, and we want it to stabilize.
Yeah.
But what's not slowing down are our buyers.
Right.
I just can't get enough sellers to come on the market to satisfy my buyers. I've got a longer list of buyers than I've ever had that I can't find properties for, because there just aren't enough out there. So if we can get some properties on the market, you know, you're going to see some increase in the numbers again, because I got people ready to go. Snap.
All right. Well, let's see if what you're saying, how that stacks up here, okay? In pending sales, okay, this is those stats that we look at each month there. This is from July, okay, for the month of July, this last year and the year before. Okay, Joe, here we go. Pending sales, down 24%.
Yeah, but if you look at the stats as far as new listings are concerned,
that's coming
this
next.
Time last year, we had 345 new listings. This year, 229. So if I've got 120 fewer houses on the market, I'm not going to have as many pending sales, because I've got my list of buyers.
Right. So, So listings, are down 33%.
Yeah.
Now, our listeners know that what's happened, Robin, is obviously, as you know as well, is that we've been having the, I was trying to think of my thing. The new listings have been coming on. We have the gap. We've been selling more than we have been creating, and that has continued, isn't it? And that's the reason we're in the situation that we're in.
Yeah, and it's true. Even though pending sales are down 24%, you see that listings are down 33%. So we're still pending more than we're listing, even though both numbers are down. Listings are down even further.
And it's interesting. Before we came on the air, I was just kind of speculating with Robin that we might have buyers burnout in place, but that's not what you're saying at all, because they've been looking, they've been beat out on multiple offers, and have they settled into leases or things like that? But there's a very limited rental market, and from what you say, you've got them pent up, just ready to find a place to land.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not frustrated, right? Right? Yeah, because they are frustrated. It's very challenging to find them enough things to look at, but they're definitely still there. They're still living with mom, or they're still living in, with a family member or something of that nature, because they can't find a rental.
Right,
With
right.
1% vacancy, they can't even find that.
Yeah.
Besides, it's cheaper to buy now anyway.
Yeah, you get further ahead faster.
Right?
Well, I think
By
we were
just sticking
talking
it out.
about that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're smarter to buy. It's easier to buy a house today than it is to find a rental.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that in our office the John Scott office in Ashland, every time I'm on the floor, one or two people come in and ask about rentals, and and you try to help them, but it's pretty bleak. So it's easier, as you say, it may be easier to buy a house. How strange is that?
People are paying like $1,800, $1,900 a month for a 1,700 square foot house.
Yeah.
Well, if you buy that 1,700 square foot house, it's going to be $1,200 or $1,300 a month. Where does that make sense?
And that disparity, remember when houses were cheaper 3 or 4 years ago? And we were making the case, hey, you're going to pay the same for your house payment as you do for your rent.
Right.
Now look at where we're at. Now you may pay significantly less for your house payment than you can for a similarly acceptable property and pay the rent on that each year. And pay that rent for somebody else to make the money and have the tax breaks and all the other investment
You're
opportunities.
paying
that come.
somebody else's mortgage.
Right. And
Exactly.
your money's working for them and not you.
Well, it really is. Average days in the market?
Down.
Yes, it is down. It's down considered to 38 days.
Wow.
And I think, what was it, Robin? I heard Jim Remley, who's the managing principal broker at John L. Scott. What was it like? John L. Scott had something like, was it 70% of homes sold within that 30-day period? And the overall MLS average was like 57. That's amazing.
Yeah.
77% sold within 30 days. They must be priced right, because if they're not, they're not moving, right? Isn't that
That's
right?
because, Pete, we were talking about that education piece. We are experienced and we are educated and we get them sold. We know how to do it right.
Yeah. Well, it's shocking. I mean, that is an amazing figure when you think about how many properties are sold each month there, and 77% in less than 30 days. That's quite remarkable. Available homes per buyer is something that we always talk about as well. And again, that's up, though. How does that happen then? All right. Why would that be up if everything else is down?
I think what we're seeing is an increase in our luxury market.
Right.
So I'm seeing a greater number of homes coming on at 500,000 and above.
Okay.
And we don't have as many buyers for that. That's a slower market. So if we increase inventory at 500 and above, but all of our buyers are below 500,
yes.
Then more homes are going to be available, but they're not attainable. So that's different.
That absolutely is. And the month supply of inventory has actually gone up as well. So those are the strange things of what the market, what it looks like. So again, remember that month supply of inventory was around 2 months supply. In some places, it was even less than that. Overall in the county, it's actually up 20% from a year ago. But if you break it down, which is the coolest thing of all, is to break that supply of inventory down by community, and Rob, it changes the whole thing, doesn't it?
It sure does.
All right, what is it?
And we're looking at 300 homes that came on the market, and they're over 500.
Yeah.
So that's that kind of swing that we're talking about, where way fewer under 500 came on the market.
If you're, again, we tell our listeners each time that we talk about this, in the $0 to $150,000 category, which there isn't that much out there, but there is. You'd be surprised how much there is out there. There's a 0.87 month supply. 150 to 250,000. It's even less than that. It's a 3/4 of a month supply of inventory in that range. That's why you get multiple offers, right, in that 150 to 250 range. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty evident there, supply and demand. The 250 to 350 range, it's a less than a month supply still. I mean.
And a healthy market is 5 to 6 months, just to put that in perspective. And I'm sure you talk about this on your show, but, so that everybody understands that means if we took not one more listing, that's how long the inventory would last. Right. People would have to settle for what's out there, and they would sell it, and it would last a month. That's not very long.
That's not very long. It's not.
And what do we all do when that time comes?
Right.
Inventory's all gone.
And Robin, you were absolutely right regarding the luxury markets in the area. 1 million plus homes. There's a big, lot of supply and a lot of inventory. The 750 to 1 million is probably the biggest category in that market, isn't it? And it's got the highest month supply, almost 10 months.
Well,
in places. In Ashland, it's even 20 months.
20 months.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you how you're right. The luxury market is a very different market, and everything most takes place below.
Well, we don't all have $2 million in a big fat suitcase, so you know.
Yeah. And
Or I'd be all in.
Right?
Yeah. And the strangest thing here is you're right. Also, is I always look at the key boxes. How many times have agents opened key boxes which are showing properties? And it's up in July, but yet sales were down. Mm-hmm. So what did that tell us? That they just can't find, right? They can't find what they're looking for. Is that right?
Well, now we're looking at things we wouldn't normally look at. Okay, so if there's 20 homes available in a normal market, we select the 5 best to take our buyers to.
Okay.
If there are 5 homes available, we don't have any choice.
Yeah.
So we might walk into something that's an absolute disaster just in the absolute hope
that it might
that
be
maybe carpet and paint will help. You know, and so we may be showing things that we wouldn't normally show given a choice of more homes.
Yeah. And I think it also reiterates that the buyers are out there.
Absolutely.
They're looking at everything they possibly can consider or find acceptable. And
exactly. Lock boxes are opening.
Yeah.
And I suppose this is one of those pitches that you tell your buyers, I'm sure, whenever we talk about it to our listeners, is in this particular category, you better be ready, right? I mean, you better be ready. You better have your financing in place. You better be ready to go. What do they call it?
Yep.
Market ready.
Market ready day one.
Right?
Yeah.
That stuff was.
I just heard Jim rambling in my headphones there.
Well, but that works because if you don't, you're going to lose them. And the worst thing the worst thing to me is you're not ready to go, but yet you're showing property, and your clients find the one that they like. This is it, and we're not ready.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have a pre-approval letter, et cetera. You're going to lose the property. And
right,
that's
because there's 6 other people.
And that's the worst thing you can do.
Ready.
So you got to do that. And of course, buyers can also help themselves, can't they, Robin, by checking the places out before if they come on and see them and go drive by them and.
Absolutely. Buyers have to be proactive in this market.
Yeah.
They have to scour the internet, make sure that they're set up on an automatic prospecting from their agent so that they get regular listings. And the minute they see them, they go out and drive. If it's acceptable, they call their agent and say, I need to see this right now.
Stat.
Yeah.
Stat is right. Exactly.
Get on it. And I think that's one of the most interesting trends that I've seen in our industry. And now the nearly 10 years that Pete and I have had licenses is the buyers and the sellers are much more aware and much more connected of what property values are, what's happening in their own neighborhoods. That ability to access that information online gives them some. So our role has changed, and we have to do a little coaching and psychology, and then we've really got to be on top of the other essential elements of the process. Buyer or seller getting through the pending period and through the inspections and through the appraisals and things like that. But the buyers and sellers are much more knowledgeable. They can do, and they can help themselves, to your point, Pete, so much more now than they were able to even 10 years ago.
I think so.
Well, and that speaks to, I was talking to you earlier, Pete, about attitudes of the buyers and the sellers. And, buyers are way more savvy now because they do have access to all of that information. And so when a seller says, well, I just want to try 300,000, for my 225,000 house, right? And I'm like, well, you know what? They're not going to come see it because they already know that's the value isn't there. They already know.
And the biggest thing if you're overpriced, what is it? No one's going to come and look at the property, right? I mean,
absolutely.
My thing is that I think sellers is thinking, and I'm in that same boat because I'm getting ready to sell my house, and so I think in the same way. We all think our places are worth more than they probably are, right? I mean, I don't know why we think that, but we do.
We've been out there cutting limbs and cleaning it up.
I had a $50,000
curb appeal.
Curb appeal thing there. Anyway, but so we think that, but if you do that, and if no one is coming to see it because the buyers are out there, look, we had 10. That's more than I've seen in months. 10,000 openings by agents. Yet we didn't sell very many places because the inventory is down. So if you're sitting there, it's because it's too high priced.
Exactly.
And you're so right that, and it's a team effort between the the agents and the buyers.
Right.
But if it's not priced right,
and
isn't that true? Isn't that what?
Absolutely.
I mean, that is the number one thing. You can say it's location, etc. But it's really the price that's going to drive so much.
And if I'm the seller's agent, I'm going to try to help my seller understand that if I'm the buyer's agent, hey, for that extra $15,000, we might land in a better, newer home than what we're looking at right here that's on the high edge of the price point.
Yes.
And it may be worth your while to just, you may get more for your money if you try to get too much out. It may be where you price yourself right out of the range of the really good, attractive buyers that might have snapped you up.
And a lot of homes are in competition with new construction.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
And,
Yeah, good point.
Sellers want to price their homes, comparable to new construction. And there is nothing comparable to new. It's new. No one's been in it.
Yeah, it's
no
new.
one's walked on this
Yeah.
carpet,
Well, speaking of new, you talk about competition. In that 3-month period, May, June, July, 85 new homes were completed in Jackson County.
Sold.
Through the MLS.
Sold.
And
yes.
more
Through
on the way.
MLS,
Yeah.
What's interesting, rural properties are way down. What's going on there? Hey, we're with Robin Simpson from John L. Scott on the Real Estate Show today. We're going to come back, continue our conversation. Don't forget all of our shows at realestateshowOregon.com. We are coming right back to KMED right after this. The Real Estate Show rolls on KMED. August the 6th is our day. Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. Next week here on the show, Callie Madding, Jackson County's Community Services Director, will be along here. Callie will be, we're going to update her as she's been, a busy year for her. She comes with us, comes on our show once a year. We look forward to her visit next week.
Sometimes in the meetings they call her the Development Services Director.
She has a lot of hats she wears. I've noticed that over the years. She's really good, too. Can't wait to see her. You know her, too?
I do. I just took a class from her at the country club. And,
that's right.
She
rocked teaches
it.
the marijuana classes,
yes,
doesn't she?
She did. She rocked it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear her stories from the past year because a lot has changed.
That is must-listen to radio.
Yeah, we're with Robin Simpson from John L. Scott here from John L. Scott here on the Real Estate Show today. And Rob, we're talking with that break came up about new construction and how Brad Bennington from the CEO of the Builders Association, when he came on the first time, we had zero. There was no home construction going on.
There was not a hammer being lifted.
Yeah. Nothing.
No.
And this statistic today, I mean, of everything that stands out, there's 85 homes in this last 3 months that have been sold as new construction.
Closed. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing. So what is that telling us? What do you think this means?
Well, I think, first of all, that our housing market is such that it's supporting
that kind of construction.
More inventory.
Yeah, sure.
We need more inventory,
Yeah,
right? You hear everybody screaming more inventory. So the builders are saying, well, all right, here's some inventory.
Yeah.
And so they're able to come back into the market and we're selling more and more homes. But what I found really interesting is the rate in which the price is increasing. So one of the struggles we've had talking about sellers in competition with new construction is when new construction came back on the market, they just needed to get back in the business.
Sure.
And they were pricing new construction
Really
as low
yes.
as they could.
Their margins
get
were
away
very
with.
thin.
Oh,
Sure.
it was hugely thin. And so it was very difficult, and existing homes actually had to go below market to get sold in a quick manner because of, looking comparison apples to apples. You're going to go new.
Yeah.
Pressure on the price point from those
Exactly.
new homes.
But we're finding that the horse race has started and their little horse is pulling into the lead and pulling away from the pack. And we saw an increase double in East Medford as far as prices increase is concerned. So we rose about 0.5% in Medford, but new construction rose a full percent. Now you look at Ashland. And Ashland has not had new construction in so long.
There's
Right?
no place to build. Well,
There's a little bit of a
lots.
moratorium on
there's not much
construction,
there, yeah.
but they are building now.
And they had 11 in the last 3 months. 11 new homes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where they are. Where are they at?
Are they new homes or new units?
No, they're new homes. Well, they're scattered around. There's little spots.
And it
Because
could be
there's some
both.
commercial
Yeah,
residential that's coming together in Ashland.
And Verta Village is coming on
Right,
soon that
right.
Greg Williams is, used to have there. Well, so there's some stuff going on there.
And so what's
But
the increase in
it's the
price on that?
though.
Yeah.
The problem in Ashland is that the prices in new construction increased 41% in the year.
41%. So they've just pulled ahead. They just pulled way ahead. So now new construction is understanding, and they're building with better amenities. They're putting in luxury items and higher grade materials.
Energy efficient.
So they're
green.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they're able to pull that price and pull it way ahead. And that actually makes an existing home more attractive because an existing home at market value now may be same size, $50,000
less than the new construction
construction.
would be.
So you might go into a new home and go, well, I can put in the granite countertops.
So that's, remember, Brad would say, you should buy a new home as compared to a new home was the same value as an existing home not that long ago, he was saying, remember? But now you're saying, Robin, is that's really changed now.
It's starting to pull away. You're seeing Mahar building in East Medford at $225 a square foot. And existing homes are averaging about $175 a square foot. So for an extra $50 a square foot, you can put in some granite countertops.
And to the home builders' defense, the regulations, the cost of building homes has gone up.
It's not that it's not worth it.
Right.
Their product is totally worth it.
Yep.
It's just that they are able to now do that. They have the backing, they have the demand, and now they're able to put that kind of high grade material together.
The prices also have to rise because the cheap dirt that was available after the market crashed is all gone, and now that in it of itself makes the price of a new home go up because there's land that has to be acquired and developed, and it costs more than it did just 5 years ago.
Oh, the infrastructure to go into a piece of land to develop it, to bring utilities in and roads and things of that nature. It's just a horrendous amount of money. Yep. And then that has to be attributed to every single home in that development.
And that's why we've just taken this long to ramp up to where the construction levels are at the time. We got the workers back in place to kind of keep up with the demand as best they can.
Yeah, they had to have workers, whereas they didn't have one half of all the new construction still taking place. Guess where? East Medford.
Yeah.
That has not changed in years, actually, in new construction.
And that was all,
half of it takes place there.
That was all platted and planned for 10,000 new homes out there, and it just kind of hit the skids for a while, but it's roaring back.
Well, anyway, okay, so that's new construction. What's interesting is, does it seem, or is this just me again, but that the rural land rush, the gold rush for rural property seems to be slowing down now here because, in fact, a year ago the stats show 203 properties sold out there. This year that's down to 140. That's a lot less. What is that? Is it over? Is it over? I mean, do you think? I mean,
I have in my list of buyers. Almost every single one of them has said, I want some place where I don't see my neighbor. I want some place where I don't reach out and I can touch my neighbor's bathroom window. So I still have people that are looking for that. But I find that my buyers are still looking in the price range that they were looking at a year ago. And that's problematic because you can't get land and an actual structure for $200,000, and that's where they're looking to $250,000. And so to get any kind of land with a structure that's inhabitable.
Yes, and that's the difference because and part of the problem is remember when there were all the foreclosed property, weren't there? There were all these programs. Remember 403B or that if you could get additional money to rehab these properties. Are those still there or are those gone?
Well, we still have a 203, the FHA 203B.
Okay.
And so we still have, and a VA has a rehab program as well.
Okay. And
that
believe
still has that.
But they're lesser inventory to deal with there.
But a conventional loan, you're not going to be able to get that type of any kind of additional money.
No.
You can't do it.
And on a rehab loan, it's very specific. It can't be foundational.
Right.
And it has to be a certain percentage of the value, and it has to appraise for the whole value of the loan. And so sometimes it's not where you can go in and go, I'd like to just gut this kitchen. That doesn't fall under rehab. If it needs a new roof and it needs a few things fixed, then you can usually do that. But again, it does have to appraise.
And financing those is a problem sometimes. So you're really stuck, in those types of things. Well, I'm just curious as to what's going to happen. Where Kelly Madden will help us. And, of course, the sheriff is going to be here over Labor Day weekend and with his pitch on what's happening in rural properties with recreational marijuana, what's going on with that, what's going on with vineyards. I mean, I saw this huge new vineyard going in. I was driving up towards Rogue River on the access road, along the freeway there, and this is this huge new vineyard going in there.
Oh, wow.
And it's what surprises me about them, and I don't know if this is true or not, but there doesn't seem to be any wildlife areas that wildlife can pass through these places. You block off 2 miles of of roadway, to the river, and you access, and those things kind of, I don't know, bother me a little bit.
I don't know, but you get some really good wine in the end.
Well, I know you do, but it takes a lot of chunking anyway. I worry about those things, but it seems that I don't think our land rush is quite over yet in rural properties, but it has changed. Obviously, the numbers don't lie. The big land rush seems to be over.
Yeah, I got to think this November is going to shake a lot of the issues out as to what you can and can't do and where you can and can't do things with marijuana. Even in the cities, they're voting on. The city of Medford today approved an outdoor ban to be put to the voters, along with the other two initiatives they've got. Jackson County is reshaping and having a public hearing coming up on their 3% tax.
Yeah.
After they voted initially up to 25%.
And all of this affects real estate.
So I don't
everything.
think people are really anxious to make moves right now on those rural properties until some of this just shakes out and settles down.
Right, that's the thing. They don't know. It's such a moving target.
Yeah.
Everything changes one day to the next.
It's fascinating, and it does have an effect on real estate. I mean, I don't care what we say, and rural properties are certainly the example of that. Hey, we're with Robin Simpson today on the Real Estate Show in the John L. Scott Market Watch program. We've got one more segment to go. We're going to go around the room and let people tell you about their listings because, there aren't any out there, and you need them, and we want you to buy them. Anyway, we're coming right back to the Real Estate Show on KMED right after this. Real Estate Show continues on KMED August the 6th. This is our date. Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys, with you. Hope your August is good as we go along here this summer. Looking forward to some terrific shows in the future with us. Kelly Madding from Jackson County next week. The Sheriff will be along. Corey Falls coming up soon. Another RVAR show coming for you. Just a lot of good stuff out there.
Weekend of the 19th and 20th, we got a campground book. Put that on your radar. You're going camping.
Who is?
You are.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
A lot better place than he takes me camping, which is Hart Mountain about every other summer. Which is
it's too hot to go camping. What are you talking about?
Right?
Applegate Lake, Hartish Park should be
too
perfect.
It's too far. Anyway, welcome to the show today. We're with Robin Simpson and John L. Scott on our Market Watch show today. Robin, been a broker, John L. Scott, now 3.5 years, and has built a terrifically successful real estate business.
I don't know why. She's kind of engaging and knowledgeable, and
well, she's a former teacher. That's why. I mean, teachers have an advantage.
And she comes with these little, don't you think? She comes with these little ringed binders of information.
Prepared.
Holy smokes!
We like prepared.
Yeah, that's good. May some of that rub off on us.
Well, before we get out of here, I just want to say we haven't talked about just foreclosed properties and short sales. I used to 3.5 years ago that was a topic du jour, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It was
a majority of the market.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, anyway, they're still out there, by the way, in Jackson County. This 3-month period sold 60 of them, which is down from a year ago. Josephine County is the same. They're down. They're still out there. And I just want to remind you that they make up only 5% of listings now, or foreclosed or short sale properties. So they're very few of them. But again, on HomePath, I encourage you to go to homepath.com. You can sign up, and they'll send you every time one comes on the market. And they do. I mean, they come up all the time.
Yeah, sure.
And again,
5% is still a little high over traditional levels of how many foreclosed properties are on the market, but some of that's just the shadow inventory that's still working its way through the banks. And
they're pretty much through it all now, though. It's not much more than it normally is now.
And so we're back to a pretty steady situation there.
Well, those are always, remember, they have the appraisal done on them, and so they're there, and sometimes there's some really good buys, and there's a lot of properties that do come on there, so we encourage you to do that. Well, what we've learned today, we've learned a lot of stuff here today. The market is going.
We need more.
The market is still rocking.
To sell.
Exactly.
The demand continues to outstrip the supply.
Exactly.
That's out there.
Way outpaced the supply.
So we're seeing new homes creep forward in the price points, and
all those kind of things.
Existing home sellers are going to be pleased for that because it's going to bring them back into better situation.
Well, all homes in the market, which is what we're going to talk about here. These are the listings. 96% are regular. So go out there and find something. Well, you've got listings, I know, Robin, that you want to share with us. I know Joe's got one as well. So We want people to buy these things, So
I know.
Tell us what some of the stuff you got.
What I'll just tell you about too. I've got two great houses. One of them is at 1919 Walnut Grove Lane in Central Point, and it is a fantastic family home. It's a 2-story. It's 2,100 square feet for $275. Right? Mm-hmm. You cannot beat that. It backs up to Gephardt Road, so you overlook the mountains and another field. It's very private, yet it's in a nice family subdivision. So that is an awesome buy.
275.
275.
275.
2,100 square feet. Mm-hmm. So it's got a separate family room, and it does have granite.
Yeah.
Sold.
Right? And then I have this amazing listing in Ashland. It's at 1020 Wildwood Way, and you can go to 1020wildwoodway.com and do a 3D tour where you can jump inside the house and literally walk around and feel the space.
No, you can't.
Oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. And it is the most fabulous, unique, beautiful, gorgeous house I have ever been in. I just absolutely love it. It's 2,700 square feet, and it is in Ashland, so it's $675. That's a far cry from Central Point, right?
Yeah, that's $675. There are now how many homes per on the market? Yeah, in that particular category.
Exactly.
Right.
There's a number of homes in that category, and it's got a beautiful floating bamboo staircase, and it's totally private, and it outlooks into the forest and a little bit across the valley. And she just did a beautiful remodel on it.
Cool.
So it's
there's
awesome.
Your hot lead there.
All right.
I know.
All right, Joe, what do you got? Something?
New listing in West Medford on 4th Street. Very hard to find 3-bedroom, 2-bath that has just come on the market. Tenants are just out. We just got it cleared up. It's over 1,300 square feet. But again, the 3.2, that's really hard to find in the neighborhood. The comparable sales of these last few months, hard to find. So that's just on the market at $174.5, and it's worth taking a peek at. And we also have our Twin Creeks listing at 1040 Sandoz that is still awaiting the discerning buyer. It's got a lot of really neat extras, in-house filtration system, remote control sound throughout the house, and just the finest glass, lead glass above the doors, oversized windows, granite throughout the bathrooms and throughout the entire house. It's one of Randy Hamilton's finest ones he ever did. So
beautiful.
1040 Sandoz is still awaiting its new owner.
I just want to tell people about if you're looking for a vacation home up at B4 on East Hyatt Lake, you got to get into if you can the two things that come out is that the BLM lease. Some people do not want to have a lease. They'd rather buy land than lease. And I understand that. But if you can overcome that, then this is a great vacation home that's pretty close into town, in pretty good shape. Sleeps up to 10. You can
Put
have
you right up in the heart of the Cascade Mountains.
Right on the water. One of those kinds of things. That's $350,000. Anyway, it's available there. And we're gonna say the Medford Elks Lodge. That is it's a year. We've had it for a year. We've listed it for a year. The big building downtown. We had a lot of people have come through there. And
Pete,
go ahead.
I want you to know I contacted every exec at McMinimans. Trying to get them to come down and look at that.
They wouldn't come, did they?
Right? I'm like, you guys got to come down because this is perfect.
Keep them on the radar because they looked at one point.
There will.
But they didn't come, though, did they?
They said they've got too many projects in right now, but they'll keep it in mind. And I said, well, I'll just keep checking in.
We'll hold it for them because I love McMinimans, and it's too far to drive.
Right, and wouldn't that be perfect building? It's totally up their alley.
It is. They're restoring the historic
in a year
and communities.
Certainly learned a lot about historic preservation of buildings, and that's going to be we're going to do a show on that because it's really fascinating how you repurpose a building and what incentives you have for buyers to do that with, and the buyers themselves have really got to be into restoring and repurposing buildings and love that. I've come to find out also. So it's a real combination of that, but we're real hopeful. That would be a shame to see that building be torn down in Medford. And so
absolutely.
We always keep our fingers crossed. Robin, how can someone get a hold of you, by the way, if they want to talk to you? Because we're all here. We love to help our clients. So if someone wants to find you, how can they do that?
Hey, they can email, call, or text 541-941-8028. They can find me at robinsimpson.com.
Yeah, or Google you, too. I thought you would Google Robin
Simpson. You Google me, I'm all over the place. Yeah.
Well, really, thanks for being here. Congratulations. I mean, you did a terrific job, and keep up the good work.
Totally fun.
Great job today.
That'll do it for the real estate.
Thanks for having me.
That'll do it for the real estate show. You have a great week, everybody. So we'll see you next Saturday right here on KMED. So for Pete and Joe, have a great week, everybody, and God bless. We'll see you next Saturday right here on KMED.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.